All right, welcome to number 10, episode 10 of the Engage Your Fanbase podcast. I'm Kara Karma from Simon Says Booking and EngageYourFanbase.com and LiveMusicNewsAndReview.com. And I am a publicist at Simon Says Booking, and I also do venue programming for various venues right now, mostly the Stone Church. So today, my podcast guest is Erwin Shemenkowitz. Did I say it right?
Yep, you got it.
All right, good. And he has started a new booking and management agency, Ever Upward Entertainment. And we've worked together with his client, the John T. And I asked him on today to talk about his experiences in booking and management and in the music industry. You also used to be a venue programmer, right, in Atlanta?
Yeah, so I started kind of in the industry. We had a Moe's barbecue open up. The Moe's guys are huge spread heads, all in a panic. And I knew the few places over here in Denver. They got a venue, South Denver, with like a bowling alley down there. So I knew they did music. I knew they were into that. So kind of literally just went up to them and I saw they had a few shows and was basically, yeah, do you guys want to start doing music every week? So kind of got into that. So that's kind of how it all started. That's actually how I met the John T as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I was talent buying there, they were one of the first few shows that came through. I think it was their first tour ever outside of New England. So that was really cool.
It's funny how people fall into this industry.
Yeah.
I was very similar to you. I walked up to this jam band in like Sunderland, Massachusetts, in the middle of nowhere, and I was just watching them, and I was like, wow, I want to know what a manager does. I want to like be a manager's intern and like learn about that. And I walked up and asked who their manager was, and they didn't have one. I was like, oh, do you want one? I mean, it was like, the blind leading the blind a little bit at that point.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing, but
yeah, I feel like I feel like everyone's kind of on that same page when it started. Like you said, it's something that you fall into. I feel like, or something that you get passionate about that you can't really, send job applications to. It's kind of just something that you have to, make for yourself and like you said, hope things fall into place.
Yeah, you make it your own, really, I think.
Yeah.
It's such a great industry to be in, but it's certainly challenging at times.
Oh, yeah. You can say that.
So since you're hi, Gigi. We're going to have some people in a little bit later. So if you'd call back after we've talked for a little bit, we'd love to have you on, all right? Thanks. Since then, you went out to, and she called in again. All right. Okay. So you went out to Denver, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was in Atlanta. I graduated from Georgia Tech. 2012. Again, it kind of fell into my lap. I was in a fraternity at Georgia Tech, and we worked a lot with Bollywood Productions, a booking agency. I feel like now they're doing more event talent buying, stuff like that. But we had, for all our parties and stuff, a lot of their bands come and play. They're based out of Charleston. And yeah, so I started intern for them, and then that second semester of that year in college, I think it was like 40 interns or something ridiculous, and he offered me and one other intern a paid position as an agent. So yeah, it's kind of how I got into it. And then at that point, there was someone out here, Mark Brutt, who is owner of Rocky Mountain Artists, which was a company that I worked for prior to this for 3 years or so, and he would help all the Bollywood Productions bands come to Colorado and do tours out here. So then Ben Bounds, who's the owner of Bollywood, kind of hooked me up with him, and yeah, kind of came out here on a limb. In college, I interned and co-op with Delta, so I have my corporate experience as well. With that, I had benefits to fly everywhere, and I kind of flew out to Colorado a little bit too much and kind of just fell in love with it.
Well, I always forget that you're on Mountain Time over there.
Yeah.
Whenever we talk, I always forget. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to get into you have experience with two sides of the music. Well, a few sides, more than that, but
Yeah.
the two sides that we want to talk about today are booking and management. And I think that a lot of people who are just getting into the industry don't really know. I mean, the booking agency is somewhat booking agent is somewhat self-explanatory, but not completely. I mean, a lot of times you have bands that, are employing a booking agent and looking for them to do some management.
Right.
So how would you describe the difference between the two and those roles that you play?
Yeah, I think and it's a lot harder to differentiate, especially when you're not working with, very established bands. By very established bands, I mean, bands that have over 50, 60,000 likes on Facebook, that have, set managers and booking agents and, personal managers and, and all that stuff. And a lot of bands really don't realize, I would say the biggest difference between booking and management is the whole strategy aspect. As far as an agent, what you want to do is you want to work with managers that already kind of have the strategy in place so that you don't have to kind of put that management piece, in place for them.
You're just implementing it.
Say it again.
I said you're kind of implementing a manager strategy, in terms of, the theory and the strategy around where you're touring.
Right, exactly. So once it's a lot easier to work with bands who have set managers, or I mean, the thing is with managers, a band doesn't really need a manager until you kind of get to that level of larger shows and such like that. The biggest thing is bands need managers and booking agents once their time has been taken up by self-managing and self-booking. The job of a musician is to be creative. The job of a musician is to make music. The job of a musician shouldn't be strategizing and reaching out and spending time to negotiate these shows. So I think that's kind of
in this DIY day, it really is their job, unfortunately. Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of bands I feel like they kind of want both things together when the fact is that I feel like they would be a lot more successful if you're self-managed and you find an agent that can implement, like you said, those strategies that you have in place. Or because I mean, when it comes down to it, the band is who knows what's best and what they want.
Definitely.
It's especially working with newer bands that you don't have that relationship with. It's harder to kind of come up with that strategy when you don't really know what they want. So I'd say that's probably the biggest difference.
Yeah, I definitely the management is a real partnership. I mean, I'm not a manager, but I do management strategy.
Yeah, I mean, management's like a marriage, for instance, the John T and I'll probably reference them a lot just because they're, the longest band that I've been working with and really the only band I manage along with book. But I've been booking them for 4+ years at this point. I was looking at they do a really good job with keeping archives of all their work, and you can find it all on archive.org and all that stuff too. I mean, I was booking them for 4 years before we even contracted up a management proposal, just because when you have a band that is that willing and that self-motivated and proactive, again, you don't really need a manager. You can strategize yourself. And I think it just kind of came to the point where, I got really close to those guys. At this point we're like best friends, which is really kind of what makes the management relationship unique,
Yeah.
Like I don't think anyone can be, just because you're a band manager for one band doesn't mean that you would be just as successful managing another band. There's definitely a chemistry that needs to be there. There's got to be something that clicks for both you guys, to start that kind of relationship.
Well, and while a band that is hitting a certain level probably doesn't need a manager, booking agency, having a booking agent at a certain level is definitely important. And I think just in general, starting to think about partnering with music industry professionals doing a little bit of PR, doing a little bit of marketing help, and definitely getting booking help. Those kinds of those I think that it's very helpful for bands to start thinking about. Most bands are doing everything at once, and
Right.
most bands are trying to, like you're saying, they have the strategy, but they have the creative strategy. And a lot of times, sometimes people bring to the bands, they have financial background or marketing background, but most of the time, they're musicians, and at some point you need a little help for sorry, that was a comment. You need a little professional help to get you the next level. We're going to open the seats in about 15 minutes, I think. So sorry to interrupt.
I know.
Oh, good. Thanks. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. So are we. I lost my train of thought. So anyway, what should bands be doing to get ready to be working with a booking agent? Because I don't know if you agree, but I think that's probably the first step, is getting yourself a booking agent before
Definitely.
any kind of
Yeah,
management.
I would say most bands who are shopping around for agents, especially newer bands, definitely again don't need managers. I mean, when it comes down to it, what musicians make, a majority of that is going to agents, to managers, to publicists, to all these other things that, like you said, a lot of bands try to do all at once.
Yeah.
And I think a booking agent is really kind of the first piece of that. I think it's also, you can really tell with bands that have worked with other agencies or have had a booking agent before, because they know how to handle themselves. I mean, you start working with some bands, and I've had experiences with bands that I've worked with that they start doubting you and start stepping on your toes and reaching out to venues on their own, and that's not how that works.
Yeah.
I mean, this is our jobs. We've been doing this for years, and so I think an important part of getting ready to get an agent and to get a manager and to get a publicist and to do all this other stuff is really kind of learning to let go. Let go of your responsibility. Again, like you're saying, they're musicians. You're not an agent. It's a thing that bands need to kind of understand, that you're on their side. This is all a team effort. Communication is huge.
Yep.
Working as a team is huge. I'm sure that as well, with doing publicity and PR and all that stuff. So I think one of the biggest steps that a lot of bands aren't ready to take is letting go, of their organization or their band, to someone who can really help them and further their career and take them places that they want to go. But I think that's one of the most important things, and a lot of the things that I find working with younger bands that they don't know. And again, with bands that have had agencies before or have moved from other agencies, you can definitely tell those bands that have had those relationships prior and kind of know how to handle themselves with that situation.
So, but a lot of letting go really depends on your trust level, and I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that is, when you're, there's two sides of the coin. What should the band be doing to get the booking agent's attention, and what should the band be looking for when shopping for a booking agent?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Someone you can trust is a really important piece of that. Someone you can trust with your vision. Having a vision first is something that probably you're looking for when you're deciding to sign a band, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you as well. Trust is huge. And it's hard to kind of establish that trust because it's easier to form a trust relationship and become a band manager, because you kind of have that trust foundation. It's a little bit different with agents, because it's not like it's like I said, a management's like a marriage. I feel like an agency really isn't necessarily always like that. Bands will shop around for agencies, and if it's a great agency and they get back to them, it's like, work starts immediately. You don't really have time to kind of form that trust relationship. But I feel like, again, this is our job. This is, agencies and agents have been working, years in this industry. So I think, having a track record should really kind of speak for itself as well. I was lucky enough to work with Rocky Mountain Artists, which is, a great agency, and we worked with a lot of great bands. And, the reason I kind of started this is because, I kind of had that track record already. And, people that worked with me, understood that I can deliver, good work product, and the like. So, yeah, I mean, I think trust is a huge thing in every aspect of it, really. And with agencies, it's a little bit kind of harder to get that established before you actually, start work together.
So what are you looking for when a band approaches you, and what do you or doesn't approach you, and you're looking at a band? What are you looking for in a potential client?
So I mean, again, I think the biggest thing with really anything in the music industry is teamwork. Working with a band that's proactive on their own. And again, you can tell a band's track record. You can see, where their tours have been, and, if they're very successful tours, that they've been booking on their own, that's a pretty big deal. I think the biggest thing, obviously is the music. You have to, be involved in them. At least, I mean, you laugh though, but I mean, there's a lot of agencies as well that aren't necessarily, there's a lot of agents that work with bands, that they don't necessarily enjoy. But it's what sells.
I think if you're going to be a good agent, that you need to at least appreciate what you're selling.
Exactly.
If it's a genre that you're not in love with, so be it. But you have to at least understand what is valuable about what they're doing and internalize that to be a good agent.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And, again, going back to the strategy thing, meeting with bands that already have strategies in place is huge. It just shows that, these bands are already dedicated to their work. You want to see dedication. You want to see bands being proactive. You want to see bands responding to emails and phone calls. I feel like that's the biggest thing. I've worked with so many bands that things have gone south fairly quickly because, they don't understand that communication is really the most important part of this relationship. I mean, you can't, again, this is a team relationship. Agencies aren't just because you're shopping around for an agency because, you need more time to be creative and you need more time to, write music, and all that good stuff. Just because you're joining an agency doesn't mean that you're going to be playing every single festival, in the country next summer. You're selling their product. You're selling a band's product. The band needs to be dedicated to what they're doing. And need to be easy to work with. They need to be, communicative. They need to be a part of a team. I think that's the biggest thing, really. Music and all that aside. I think. And,
go ahead. Oh, well, what I was going to say is, I really like being on both ends of things. That I've done the booking thing, but I do the venue booking thing, and understanding what venues are looking for. It's got to be very similar then to what you're looking for in terms of a client, because you're looking for something that venues are looking for. But what I look for in bands is, like you said, proactive, and also like you said, I think it's kind of summarizing what you're saying is professionalism, a level of professionalism. Right. People that, I mean, it's so simple, but showing up on time to gig. Advancing, it's very simple things that need to be done every day and consistently, and not all bands are doing it, so you can weed them out. Absolutely. But it's a very simple formula it's not a simple formula to be a great band, but it is a simple formula to do the things that are necessary to be professional.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's being in this industry, I feel like, professionalism isn't as rampant as other industries, it's a very informal industry, I feel like. But again, it's an industry. It's an industry. You need to be professional. People see that. It's festivals, venues, talent buyers, booking agents. Everyone sees that, and again, that is, like you say, that's one of the most important aspects of it, is knowing how to handle yourself, with your client, and the client knows it as well.
And also really having a band that really understands that it's an industry and understands that it's if you're going to make money and you're going to be able to support yourself, which is a lot of people's goals, you're going to have to treat it as like a small business.
Right. Yeah.
And give that perspective in everything you're doing, even not the music, but all the other things that you're doing. You need to really treat it as your job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you nailed it on the head. A band is a business. When it comes down to it, that's what it is. An agency is a business. This industry is a business, and you can't really lose sight of that, because
a creative business, but a business.
And you need to eat, you need to live, you need to make money. And yeah, you can't really lose sight of that, for sure. I completely agree with you.
Yeah. So one of the things that you had suggested we talk about was building a tour and what that's like. And I've never booked a tour before. So tell me about that process and when is a band ready to go on tour? When is it appropriate?
Yeah,
how does that whole work?
I think, again, the first thing, if a band comes to me and looking for a tour, you kind of need to have all these pieces in place. You need to, hopefully have a studio album. I mean, there's definitely bands that don't have studio albums that have toured before. But at least some sort of material out there. Again, you need to have a professional website. You need to have a Facebook. You need to have, all your social media outlets covered. And kind of how it really starts is, again, going back to the whole strategy thing. If a band comes up to me and they're like, yeah, we want to build a tour, that's like pretty broad. You can't really do anything with just, yeah, we want a tour. I think the first thing is, kind of nailing down a region. For bands that are starting to tour, I honestly, I really don't think it's ever too early to start touring. Especially if you have an idea of what you want, if you, are dedicated, if you really want to get to that next level, I don't think it's ever too early, as long as you have these pieces in place, that you can sell your band, you can pitch your band, or have an agent pitch your band. Then it kind of strategy kind of starts taking place, and, you pick what region, you want to tour. And, being in the industry for so many years, you form these relationships, of, again, trust between talent buyers and agents. So, it's easy to kind of poke around, get some anchor dates in place, and, kind of go from there, whether they want to stay in that region or go out of there. As soon as, you have these cities and these anchor points in place, it's pretty simple to, do some, it's a lot of research, you gotta go in and dig deep into, what markets make sense routing. I mean, you're not going to route someone, from Atlanta to Baltimore back down to, doing it in Florida. It just doesn't make sense. But again, it's a lot of this industry, I feel like, is experience. Once you've worked with these venues, again, once these venues and these talent buyers gain your trust and, know that you're working with quality bands, it's a lot easier to get tours started. And, establishing yourself in these areas, again, you're not going to come out to Colorado and do a tour and then not come back out here for 3 years. That just doesn't make sense. You want to keep hitting these markets that you hit it the first time around. That's how you grow a fan base. That's how you get in front of these talent buyers. Again, that's how these talent buyers see you and remember you and bring you back. So again, it's a lot easier. This is another thing with agencies is, it's a lot easier to build tours, for sure, for bands when you get on an agency, because again, they have these relationships that the bands don't necessarily have. So I think, I'm lucky enough to have been, doing this for the past 3 years and, branched off and started my own thing. And, not only having a great relationship between Rocky Mountain artists in these venues, but, also a personal relationship that really kind of goes a long way. I feel like just like any industry, I'm a huge believer that connections are everything.
They really are. So and publicity as well.
Yeah, of course. So, once you get those contacts in place and, get these good relationship going, again, going back to the whole trust thing, it's a lot easier to build bands for tours. But again, the strategy is huge too. I mean, I'm not going to put a band into some random markets because it's easy to book and,
Yeah.
just good money. Sometimes these good money gigs aren't necessarily the best gigs you want to play. So there's got to be a whole strategy behind it. You want to know, you kind of want to know at least, the next 12 months out what your goals are. You want to have, it's kind of, again, just like any other industry, you want to have, a year goal, you want to have, a 5-year plan. And you kind of got to start building on those. So, a lot of it depends on what the bands want. A lot of stuff in between that depends again on the connections that you have and, being able to book these routing shows, especially on the way out to Colorado when I get tours that, are trying to come out to Colorado from either, New England or Georgia or Charleston. And, it's also, hard to just build a tour from a straight shot from Charleston to Colorado. You also want to get these routing dates in place and be able to help with the bottom line of the tour. Again, it's a business and you want to make money and survive.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to open this seat and see if they had any questions that they wanted to ask you.
Cool.
Gosh, can you imagine doing this job without the internet?
Oh, no.
Just can't imagine. Hey, Rocksteady, do you have a... I can hear you. I can't see you.
Let me get my webcam up. Hold on.
That would probably help.
Maybe. Just maybe. Hold on. I unplugged this thing because you never know whenever the webcam turns on by itself.
Yeah, I'm glad that can go either way. What's your name?
My name is Rocco.
Rocco. Oh, Rocco Steady. I get it.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm gonna log back
Nice
in.
to meet you. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
What's up, man? Good. How are you?
Oh man,
Hey, where are you coming
I'm
from?
in Houston, Texas.
Oh, cool.
Houston,
It's probably a lot warmer down there than it is here.
Yeah.
I'm in Amherst, Massachusetts.
I mean, I'm
It's cold.
sleeveless. You see, I'm sleeveless.
Oh my God. No. Is it awful out in Denver?
It's not bad. I was in the mountains all weekend. It was snowing all weekend, but it's actually pretty nice out right now. I'm from Atlanta, like I said, and I got a lot of family out there that they're feeling it over there.
Yeah.
You heard Chicago's got like a -10 wind chill right now too, so I feel like the whole East Coast is feeling it a little bit more than over here.
Chicago's ridiculous.
So Rocco, are you a musician?
Yeah. I'm an inspirational hip hop artist.
Nice.
Oh, cool. And you play out in the Houston area?
Yeah, I'm based out of Houston. That's where my foundation is built, and I tour internationally.
Nice.
Yeah, I tour internationally. So I find a lot of value in your topic, and I really appreciate y'all sharing your light and your expertise. I'm all about growing and learning. I'm just learning every single day. I'm a life student,
It never stops, man. I mean, I feel like the whole learning process again, people get kind of thrown into this industry and, mistakes are made. A lot of mistakes are made. And the only real thing, the only way to go forward is kind of just learning from those mistakes for sure.
Exactly. I've been in the industry full time for the last 5 years of my life. This is all I do. I make music and I sell records and I do shows. I've been doing music since I was 9 years old, and I decided to take the plunge 5 years ago. I'm in a situation, and I wanted to ask your perspective. I'm in a situation where it's a quote unquote good problem to have. Okay, so about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, a little bit about myself. 4 years ago, I walked in to my fiance having sex with another man, and she drained me for $65,000 in my credit card. And as an artist, she made me stop doing music. So I dumped her and took everything out of my condo, and I put everything into storage. And just to expedite the story, the reason I tell you the story is because it lit a fire under my ass. That kind of a situation really gives you a lot of content as an artist, and it also gives you a lot of drive if you don't let it depress you. Well, I basically was homeless for 2 years. I lived out of my car. I only had $15,000, and I dumped all of my $15,000 into a studio. And I asked them, how long can I record out of here? They gave me 7 months, 24-hour access. They gave me a key. And essentially, I spent 7 months here in the studio. I was 275 pounds, smoking 2 packs of cigarettes, drinking every day prior to joining the studio. And when I joined the studio, I didn't have any more money, so I couldn't really support my vices anymore. So I lived out of the studio. I lived in my Mazda Miata. I showered and brushed my teeth at the 24-hour fitness, and I washed my clothes at 24-hour fitness, and I would dry it in the sauna. So needless to say, all I had was myself and what was left in my dignity. And so I recorded an album. It was called Pride of Place. It was about accepting your past, appreciating the present, and welcoming the future. Mind you, I was $65,000 in debt because this woman charged it all to my credit card and was spending to support a drug habit of hers. And I was also $55,000 in debt because of student loans. So I was really in debt, I was broke like crazy. And so the reason I tell you this story is because when it lit a fire under my ass, a lot of intuitive inner like sort of creativity came out. Whenever you come out and you like spend 7 months making an album, you fall in love with the project. And so when I fell in love with the project, I found a lot of value in it. And after I released the project, I came out swinging. And after that, 2.5 years passed, I sold over 5,372 records, today. That's how many records I sold. And I sold them at $35 a pop. And
wow.
Yeah. So, and, because I tell people the story and I share what my perspective is and my vision and my mission as a hip hop artist. And I spent the last 4 years of my life going up to 50 brand new people a day. And I would be like, hey, what's up, Kara? How you doing? And they'd be like, oh, I'm doing good. I'd be like, well, how's your day? And they'd be like, oh, it's okay. I'd be like, how about I make your day better? They'd be like, cool. And then I'll be like, okay, pull your phone out and record me. I'm about to rap for you. I want to represent you as a hip hop artist. I want to represent you in this city. And I want to just share my talents with you. Is that okay with you if I make your day better? And they'd be like, sure. And they pull out their phone and record me. And I told them, I'm not trying to sell you anything. All I want you to do is record me. And if you enjoy it, just post it on your social media. I went up to 50 people a day for the last 4 years of my life. Brand new people. In the city of Houston, that's how I grassroots marketed myself. And before you know it, networks.
It's hard to do.
Networks were crossing. What were you saying? I couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
That's hard to do.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. You can't hear me? It's hard.
Yeah,
that's a lot of people.
3 hours, 3.5 hours doing it every single day. I would go to
you can't hear
an
me?
intersection with a lot of people, and I would just go up to people. And it was a really effective way because people would post it up. They'd be like, oh, because I would say their name. I'd be like, hey, what's your name? And at the end, I would add a little like freestyle about their name and what they were wearing and who they were with and how they looked and, that kind of thing. And they would post it up. And before you know it, networks started crossing over. And it led to the ultimate success of confidence. I just developed this insatiable desire to share my music and share my gifts. And then I performed everywhere. I performed at all the festivals. I performed at, the major places because I would walk into business establishments and really express what my message was and why I was doing what I was doing. And it led me to making the City of Houston's theme song. After I created the City of Houston's theme song, it opened up so many other doors as far as opportunities, because that's how I would brand myself. Is I would be like, hey, would you like the City of Houston's theme song writer to perform at your next event? And people were like, yeah, sure. That's cool. And my question is this, okay? This is where I'm at. I have about 10,000 people in an Excel spreadsheet. I have their email, I have their phone number, and about 5,300, of them I sold records to. They're previous purchasers. And the way I sold it was I literally picked up the phone and I called each individual person and I expressed to them how important it was for them to support me. And so the likelihood of them supporting me again is like, it's pretty high because they already supported me. They've been following my journey. But now I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed because as a creative, not only am I creating lyrics and creating and producing and making records, but I'm creative with the business aspect of things. And what I really liked about you, what was your name? Ever? Erwin, yeah. What I really liked about what you said is you have to find somebody that can that you can delegate your creative marketing tactics or your creative management practices to hand it over to. But the problem that I face is that my managers and my booking agents, I hired 3 of them at the same time, and they couldn't book more than what I was booking myself because I have this like full-time gig and I'm dedicated to myself. You see a lot of booking agents, they have like 5, 6, 7 artists. A lot of managers have like 10 different artists and they have a day job.
Right.
You know, for me, I'm a full-time guy, so I'm like literally pounding the ground. But at this point, I can't do that anymore because I have to perform, I have to do interviews, I have to do this, I have to do that. And I have like this substantial amount of people that I really truly believe if I sat down and made those phone calls, I can do what I did in 2.5 years in 1 year. And that's ultimately what my goal is as an artist, is to be able to spread the message quicker and more effectively and with a lot more, you know, sufficiency than what I've been doing. But it's hard for me to find a team. I've been booking myself with an alter ego. I literally pick up the phone and I change my voice. You know, my alter ego, his name is Brooklyn Alexander. He talks ridiculous. You know, he's like, "What up, baby? What up, baby? How you doing? What are we getting Rocco out?" Yeah, I mean, literally, I've created this alter ego, which allows me to book myself. I have these templates of emails where I send my emails, I make the phone calls, I do the follow-up, I perform, I'm out there selling the record. I need a team, but for some reason, the team is really hard because it's a very independent industry. Everybody's sort of like their incentive is ego driven, and you know, you can't have an ego when I'm the artist. I have to be the ego out here. I have to be I gotta have the biggest nuts here, you know, like I'm the face.
For sure. You know, I think, you know, in your situation, I think what would benefit you, you know, first of all, you shouldn't have 3 booking agents. You know, a booking agent should be, you know, the one person you go to or your manager goes to for shows. You know, I became successful where I am now, again, due to my track record. You know, the majority of the bands, all the bands really that I work with have come to me because they've talked to other bands in their same genre. You know, I don't really work with rap. I don't really work with EDM or anything like that. But you know, I imagine it's all the same. It's all a community. You know, yeah. You guys have your connection. You know who's playing. You know, I think the biggest thing is maybe even reaching out to artists. You know, doing research on artists, seeing what agencies they're on. Doing a lot of research with their dates, with their tours, you know, kind of, again, just doing a lot of research to see what would be the right agency for you in terms of genre, as well as who would be a good agent for you in terms of what you want to play. You know, if there's these venues that certain rappers are playing that, you know, you would like to play, these agents probably have, again, these good relationships with these venues.
Right.
So, you know, I think it's extremely hard to form a team. That's by far the hardest part of, you know, getting an organization that works in unison, right? The right team.
Right.
So, you know, I think a lot of it is trial and error. You know, I've worked with a lot of bands that have been on numerous agencies before, and have left, you know, all of them either for one reason or another. You know, sometimes it's just not a good fit. It needs to be a good fit. It needs to be something that, again, you kind of feel, it kind of clicks. There's this chemistry there that, you know, that's different from people you've worked with in the past. And again, you know, I think a lot of people in the industry try to blow smoke up your ass. I mean, I think that a lot of agents, a lot of managers, you know, like you said, have egos and, you know, try to sell themselves as more than they are. So, you know, you also kind of have to keep that, you got to take what people say with a grain of salt until you've seen those kinds of, right, exactly. You know, those kind of
proof is in the pudding.
Right.
So,
no, I had.
Rocco,
you know,
did you say you have 3 different booking agents?
I didn't tell them about each other, you know, like.
You had.
Well, Yeah, well, here's the thing.
Oh, no. You got to have a lot of trust with your booking
But
agent, and
here's
you
the
got to,
thing.
they got to
They
trust you. You
couldn't
got to
book
trust them to
shit,
have
you
that
know, like,
partnership.
Yeah. Yeah, you need a new agent.
no,
Then you
and
need a new
here's
one.
another thing. There's a difference between getting booked
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
getting paid and booked. You see, they were putting me as like opening acts for like, you know, other people. And honestly, I'm not interested in doing opening acts. I have the track record where I'm getting paid, you know, 3,500 to 5,000 a gig, you know, like that's what my track record is. And I know what my value is. And it's because of my resume and my portfolio that I feel like I deserve that. And they don't
Right.
believe I deserve that. And I'm like, look, you could be catching a 20% cut off of 5,000 opposed to giving me a free gig and wanting me to drive around town. And then they think that I'm being disrespectful. They think that I'm being cocky, and they
Well,
think
it's
that I'm
really.
not like appreciative of their hard work.
How did you find these booking agents? Like, because Erwin was saying, it's really a matter of like, to find the right booking agent, which is so key to, or publicist or manager or
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's so key to have that good fit and that partnership. And to do that, you want to look at people that are doing what you're doing, but just like the next level or where you want to get, and find out who's booking them, because it sounds
definitely
like you
wasn't.
didn't have a good fit. And it sounds like it wasn't the right,
No, for sure.
and they've got
I
to believe in
completely
your
agree
vision
with
to be
you.
able to
And
be your
I
partner,
think it's probably because I'm at a cusp, I'm at a cusp where I hustled my way to get to where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's like, I'm not like superstar status, and I'm not making the crazy loot, but I'm making decent money. And then, it's like I probably now that I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to y'all, I probably should be contacting people that have really good experience and have really good resources and connections. I think I might have a fear of being taken advantage of, because I've seen this happen one time too many to so many different people, and
Yeah.
I've done so many things on my own and worn so many hats that I'm so used to being in control. And it's hard,
Right.
it's hard for me to like, and because I've been offered a couple major record label deals, and I'm like, I don't want those. They want to take away and strip me away from my creative process. They want to change my image, and then they want to hand over a glorified loan and expect me to pay that back for 10 years. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Well, I think that's really gets to what Erwin was saying earlier, is that, when you're ready to get a booking agent or a manager, you really need to be ready to, number one, have your vision, which you do, and number two, communicate that vision and be able to let go once you feel like you have the trust in your partner that they're going to be able to do that for you. And a good booking agent and a good manager, and Erwin, I'm sure you probably agree, is going to be on your team. And it doesn't sound like you found that. So to find that, I'd really recommend that you've got to have a community of people in the music scene there in Houston, and wider than that, and talk to people, see who's actually working for those people that are doing what you want to be doing, that at the level that you want to be doing, and see who they're working with, and approach those people, because you seem to have a lot of hustle, and that really is like we were talking about earlier, or what is, seeing someone that's professional and who has a lot of get up and go is a really important aspect
and
for, from the booking agent side.
I'll have to
Erwin, looks
disagree
like
with
you have
you
something.
on not you, Kara, but you, Rocco, on the whole opening slot thing. It sucks opening for someone else and
Mm-hmm.
not making as much money. But at the same time, you have to kind of trust that agent is doing that for a reason. I mean, it's getting you. I mean, at least you would hope that it's getting you exposure. You would hope it's getting you in front of new fans.
Yeah.
And again, those are great people to make these connections with. I mean, if you're opening for these acts, they're obviously draw more than you or larger than you as a band or as a rapper. So kind of take advantage of those opportunities. Talk to them, ask them what agency they're on. Like Kara said, try to make those connections within your scene, within your community, that can really kind of, help you as well. Again, the most successful artists, and again, this goes with every single, with every industry and with everyone, is, if you're willing to want other people's other people to succeed, that's what makes you successful. So, you kind of have to trust that, these people that are putting you in these slots, are wanting you to succeed. And, these people that you're playing with and opening for, also want to see you succeed. This is a community. No one's going to get anywhere if your ego takes over everything.
Right.
Well, and it goes back to being able to have that trust, is having that good relationship to begin with, and building that with your partner, your industry
your
partners.
Advice. Thank you so much. I will I will take that, and I will learn from it, and I will keep y'all updated. I've added both of y'all, and if you want to add me on,
why don't you put your links, like your Facebook or your website or something, in the chat, so everyone who's watching can check it out.
Video that I sent everybody about my 2016 vision, and this is what I send all the companies and corporations as far as my my portfolio is concerned. It's a video portfolio. It's about 2.5 minutes long, so I'll send it over to you.
Cool.
All right. Much love, and let me know how I can help y'all in any way. Okay.
Yeah, just put it in the chat window so everybody can see it. Well, check it out, and check it out. Our next podcast. I'm not quite sure who's I'm going to have on, but I have these about once a week talking about music marketing. Thanks for putting that up. EngageYourFanbase.com is the music marketing blog that I write, so that might be helpful too. So, thanks a lot.
No,
it's actually down at the moment, but it'll be back up tomorrow. But I'm having issues. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot for jumping in. I appreciate it. All right. So I think we're gonna wrap up. Is there anything else? You know what? I wanna end with your biggest tips, like your takeaway for bands who are looking for management and booking agents.
I think
what should they be thinking about as we wrap up
kind of all evening? But again, it's you need to look for someone who, if they don't share your vision, someone who understands your vision, and someone who's willing, to work for your success, is really what it comes down to. I think of a lot of another big mistake that bands do, when looking for an agent or a manager is, reaching for these huge agencies like Paradigm or Red Light Management, these agencies that, handle huge artists. And, you've got to understand that, even though they have a great track record, obviously, you're probably not going to be a priority. You want to work with an agent or with a company, that you're a priority. And if not a priority, in terms of, the first band, if, you have a roster of 20 bands, it's not like, you'll be the first band that they ever pitch, because that just doesn't work. That's not feasible. But, someone who's going to work for you and not put more attention to other acts, subjectively. I think that's a huge thing that a lot of people overlook, and, kind of don't give credit to smaller agencies and such, because, they want to be on the biggest agency that there is, just to kind of have that name. But again, just because you're on an agency doesn't mean that agency can get you all the gigs in the world. That's not how it really works. Your music is what sells. Your agent, your manager, your team is going to be the one that, kind of puts that in action and makes it happen, really. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, this was fun.
Well, thanks so much, Sherwin. I really, really appreciate you coming on. It was really kind of last minute, but really worked out well. I am Kara Karma, and this has been the 10th episode for Engage Your Fanbase podcast on Blab, and we will be back next week. I like this time, so I think we're going to continue on the 8 o'clock on Mondays thing. And you can check out my blog, which is the goal of my blog is to demystify music marketing for the DIY musician, and it is engageyourfanbase.com. Unfortunately, it will be up. It's down right now, but it'll be up tomorrow. So on the 19th, it's kind of annoying to come on here and. Oh, I'm glad you liked it. Thanks so much, Check Creatives Link. And we were here with Erwin Shemankiewicz of Upward Entertainment, booking and
thank you. And if
artist
anyone's
management.
listening,
So thank you so much for
should
coming
have
on.
a website up shortly. Again, started the company a few months ago, so still working on that. And you can go to Facebook. I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/everupwardent, or just search Ever Upward Entertainment. And yeah, hopefully some musicians got something away from the podcast. And thank you again for having me.
Thanks so much. All right, I'm gonna